The German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has openly criticized Israel's recent attacks on Gaza. The unusually strong comments from a German leader add to the international pressure on Israel as it intensifies its current offensive in an attempt to destroy Hamas. Merz says he feels compelled to speak out when international law is being broken.
What
the Israeli army is now doing in the Gaza Strip, I no longer understand, frankly, what its objective is. To cause such suffering to the civilian population, as has increasingly been the case in recent days, can no longer be justified as a fight against Hamas terrorism.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz there. Let's bring in DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner, who is at that conference where the German Chancellor made that remark. Michaela, can we expect to see a shift in Germany's Israel policy now?
Well, we just saw one. In fact, this is historic. I was in the room as Friedrich Merz got the question of why Germany wasn't joining the ranks of many European countries. Also a statement by Britain, France and Canada condemning the actions of the Israeli government in Gaza as disproportionate. And he then responded by essentially joining their line to a pretty large degree, saying it was unjustifiable. And he also spoke of international humanitarian law being breached. So this is a clear indication that Germany's Staatsräson, its underlying fundamental principle of defending Jewish life, does not include not criticizing Israel. And clearly he has reached a breaking point here where he himself said that Germany is very restrained in criticizing Israel. But in such a situation when international humanitarian law is breached, even a German chancellor, as he put it, would have to speak out. And that's exactly what he did today. So that is a new chapter in relation, certainly, with this government of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Now, what do you think prompted this remark now?
Well, clearly criticism has been mounting, and not light criticism. We've heard the UN speak of there being indications that there could be war crimes committed in Gaza. We've also seen the head of the Jewish Council, the Central Council of Jews here in Germany, criticizing Israel for not letting in enough humanitarian supplies into Gaza. So that is what must have brought him to the point where he spoke out so clearly. Also, of course, with other European leaders having done that in the past. One must not remember that Germany is restrained because it is the country of the perpetrators of the Holocaust. But this breach with civilization was also the point from which all of this international humanitarian law that is being referred to at this moment comes from. The never again moment in international law. And now we have a German chancellor referring to this very legislation criticizing Israel. So this is a historic comment today.
Now, Merz is leading a coalition government with the Social Democrats as the junior partner. How united is the German government on this topic?
Well, there is criticism that goes a lot further than even within his own coalition. There are calls for an end to weapons deliveries to Israel. This was unthinkable just a couple of hours ago that Germany would do something like this. But this, of course, is the next question, whether Germany will consider limiting weapons exports. There had been several months under the last government where no weapons had been actively sent, but it turns out that they also hadn't been requested, so clearly there was an understanding. And one must also bear in mind that Israel does not need Germany's arms deliveries essentially for its own defense purposes. If the United States were to make any kind of noises in that direction, that would be a real threat to Israel's capabilities to act.
DW's chief political editor, Michaela Küfner there. Thank you, Michaela. Meanwhile, a Palestinian official says Hamas has agreed to the latest US proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza. The Hamas-controlled health authority says at least 52 people have been killed in the latest airstrikes. Dozens died in one attack on a former school housing displaced people. Israel's military says it targeted militants operating from that building.
Most people were asleep when this building became a target overnight. Israel carried out an airstrike on this former school in Gaza City, saying it served as a Hamas command center. According to Gazan health authorities, dozens were killed, mostly women and children. Survivors say the building served as a shelter for displaced people.
We woke up from our sleep and found the whole place in flames. My nephew started screaming, "Mum, get me out, get me out." But my sister could only pull out her 2 injured daughters, not her son. May he rest in peace.
An indescribable sight. Body parts, charred people, the smell of sulfur, smell of charring. I swear to God, our hearts have died. This is how we are shaken. Our nerves are damaged. We're exhausted. We're tired by God. Enough.
Israel has recently extended its attacks on the Gaza Strip again and vowed to control big parts of the territory within the next weeks. This has sparked criticism from many countries. So has the month-long blockade of aid to Gaza that was just lifted last week. But at the moment, Israel is letting in only a fraction of the needed goods, which causes scenes like this, showing the level of desperation and the lack of basic needs like food and water. And people also fear new attacks on zones that are supposed to be safe.